Let's discuss the 4.5 books that I read last week. I'm going to start doing little weekly reading recaps because I just want to give you guys my book reviews more in real time. And I happened to have a really good reading week last week anyway, so it's a perfect week to start. The first book I finished last week was The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Susan Collins, which is obviously the 4th book in the Hunger Games series and the last one as of right now. The next one comes out in a couple of days. Hence why I have reread the whole Hunger Games series recently, and I actually did read this one for the first time. And I will say, was not my favourite. I gave this one 3 stars. I think it's because the first half of the book was very, very action-packed and I really enjoyed it. And then the second half, I feel like nothing really happens in this book and we don't really progress anywhere. And so I was a little bit bored and I was kind of skim reading the second half, I'm not gonna lie. The next book I finished was on my Kindle, on Kindle Unlimited, and this one was called Keep It in the Family by John Mars. This one is a thriller book and I read the whole entire thing in one sitting because I just had to know what was gonna happen. This one is about a couple who move into this home that they are planning on renovating to become their family home. And they go into the attic and they discover these really, really horrible things in suitcases. I don't really want to say here. This whole police investigation ends up happening throughout this book and we get like 4 different point of views. We get like little newspaper excerpts and stuff like that. Like, it was just so well put together and so well written. I actually loved it. If you need a thriller to get you out of a slump, I highly recommend. I gave that one 4 stars. Next one I read was Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Currently reading books set in cities that I am traveling to, and this one is set in LA, which I'm going to in 2 weeks. Very, very excited. This one's following Hannah, and this book is actually 2 different timelines. So each chapter, instead of being in like different point of views, we're in her point of view, but it's like depending on a specific choice she made, it's like 2 different timelines. I hope that makes sense. I feel like it's hard to explain. It makes sense when you're reading it. It sounds really confusing, but it's really not at all. I really, really like how this one ended. I like how we don't exactly know which timeline ended up being like the real timeline, if that makes sense. Kind of did, but like it's also kind of up to interpretation, which I really like. I gave this one 4.5 stars. Then I read The Partner Plot by Christina Forrest, which is again for that video. This one is set in Las Vegas mainly, maybe for like the first 100 pages, and then they go to their cities that they actually live in. This is about a high school relationship who broke up 10 years ago and then they meet again in Vegas 10 years later and they end up accidentally getting married overnight, and then everything just goes on from there. There's also the fake dating trope in this one, which I loved. And lastly, my current read is Summer in the City by Alex Astor. This is an arc. It actually comes out next month, which I'm very excited about. And this one is set in New York, obviously, which I'm very, very excited to be traveling to as well. I am currently 123 pages into this. I'm like almost halfway. Literally obsessed. Like, this is like 5-star feeling for me. I don't know what it's gonna be at the end, but I'm loving this. Like, I just love every single thing about the main character in this book. You guys will definitely need to add it to your TBRs.